This is probably the last update to the fish room that I'm going to do, and I'll just go through it all one last time, just kind of show everybody what I've done in this room. Basically done about everything I can do. 4 racks of tanks in this room, 45 tanks total. There's a rack straight ahead of us, has 18 10-gallon tanks, 2 40-gallon tanks. This rack over here has 4 20-gallon tanks. This rack over here has 4 40-gallon tanks, and actually this rack has 8 20-gallon tanks. And then the rack behind me has some littler tanks. I'll show that here in just a second. All the tanks are drilled, so everything comes, water source comes in from the central sump. That piece back there is exactly the same in every tank. It can go up and down to adjust the water up and down as I need to. All the tanks obviously have air, sponge filters in them. They all drain to a common sump, which is right here. This sump not only has the 2 pumps in it that pump water back to the racks, but it also has a little pump down here which pumps waters to the 2 fluidized bed filters, which give me some biological filtration in there. There's also 2 45-gallon stock tanks that host or that hold water that's getting ready to go into the sump. So this water is treated, but it is not heated. When I'm ready to put water down in the sump down here below, I can just hit this switch. Once I hit the switch, then the water down there starts draining into the sump, which fills it up. I can also drain the sump with this switch here. That causes a valve over on the other side over here, and I'll kind of move over that way. Causes that valve right there to open, which drains all the water into the sump pump of the house. So I can drain all the tanks into the sump pump of the house and then fill it up automatically, like I said, with a switch that would open that valve right there, which comes from the ceiling and water from the fresh water from the house. So in this tank then it would warm up just naturally. I would treat it. I can open that switch, fill up this tank also from upstairs there, and get water in there as well. The tanks are constantly monitored with this monitor right there. It gives me pH, hardness, temperature. I don't have any fish that are really exciting right now. A lot of live bears. We're getting ready to go on vacation after a while, so I'm kind of trying to take the stock level down a little bit to help the person that's taking care of the fish room while I'm gone. This tank here, I'm getting ready to breed coolie loaches, both the black ones and just the regular ones. There's a lot of coolie loaches in there, but in the interim there are some pretty cool fish in here. These are the half beaks, which are kind of neat. They're a live bearing fish, and there's a big female there and lots of other ones in there along with the coolie loaches. Once I try to spawn them, obviously I'll separate those out and all that, but there's also 1 40-gallon tank over here, which, as you can see, was kind of an experiment I did with separating, using this separation, putting the parents over here and then having the babies go out in here where they wouldn't be eaten. As you can see, the babies kind of come back over here, but a lot of live bears in there. I got some mollies and platies and some pretty interesting fish over there. Lots of baby live bears down there in that 40. Lots of baby live bears down there, so I have to have a live bear sale, I guess. Some Juliite cories in one of the 20s up here that I'm trying to get to spawn. I'll show you some baby albino cories here in just a little bit. Down in this tank are some panda cories, which I'm trying to get to spawn as well. I have just some other live bears running around. These are some rainbows, some celebes, and featherfin rainbows. Both of them are a lot of these are babies of spawns that I've had. That's the main dad of the celebes ones, that one right there in the middle. A lot of those are his kids. The featherfin rainbows, that's mommy featherfin rainbow right there. I lost the dad, but he was big and just beautiful. There is, see if I can find it. Well, I can't find the other male that's in there, but he's really pretty. He'll be big. There he is. He'll be big and really a beautiful fish too. He's getting bigger, but some other live bears in here. So the tanks, they're all centrally heated by the sump down here. There's 1800 watts of heat in this. All the lights in here, there's 2 sets of lights. There's the fluorescent ones, and then there's the incandescent, little incandescent ones. they are all controlled, and I'll kind of flip around 180 degrees here to the door, but they are all controlled by these two switches here, and these are on a timer. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, the first set of lights come on. I am in a basement here in my home, and there are no windows, so when it gets dark in here, it is pitch black. So instead of just jarring the fish awake, the little bitty lights come on. And these I think are like 25 watt incandescent lights, and they stay on for a little bit, and then the fluorescents light up. And then at night that process reverses. The incandescents come on, the fluorescents shut off, and then the incandescents shut off, and then it's dark in here again. So the lights, the heat, the air, the water both in and both out are all pretty much centrally located over here to the right. I have just kind of a work area, and it is a disaster right now, but these are some of the micro worms that I feed the little baby fish that I'll show you here in just a little bit, some of the crickets that I feed the archer fish back there. But I have a sink and a refrigerator for black worms. I feed a lot of my fish, especially the cories and the angels and the bumblebee gobies. I'll show you some babies of those too. Live black worms, because it just helps them spawn. I'll come down here to the bumblebee gobies. That is a pair in there, or there was a pair in there, now there's only one. But they are getting ready to spawn yet again. The mother was, or the big female was just there a minute ago. Naturally, when I need her, she's not there. But they have spawned many times in here, and I'll show you a couple sets of babies here in just a little bit. They haven't spawned yet tonight, but they're kind of looking like they were getting ready to. Brine shrimp, I always have brine shrimp, baby brine shrimp hatching to feed the little babies as well once they get big enough. And again, all that's controlled kind of with light switches. Back behind, as I came in, these are the 12 little tanks. The little tank that are on the wood block, those are about 2.5 gallon tanks. I made some bigger tanks, so that's a bigger tank. It's a little over 2.5 gallons, probably maybe 3.5 or so. But in here, in the little tanks, this is my rack of babies. These are baby cories, baby albino cories, and that's some of them there. And I will see down here are a set of the older baby bumblebees. So there are some of the older baby bumblebee gobies. They're getting pretty good size. And I will see if this camera will take a picture of, let me see if I can find a flashlight. Let me see if this will actually, if you can see on the camera the baby. Yeah, you can a little bit. You can almost see their shadow better than you can see them. But those are baby bumblebees. These are maybe only a week or so old. But they are, when they hatch, they are small. I mean, they are a quarter of the size of a baby guppy, but you can see, if I can zoom in here a little bit. Sorry about that. Videos aren't my thing. But you can see that they are very small. And they're the ones that eat the micro worms back there. And then they eat baby brine shrimp later, but I've spawned a lot of angels. These have spawned quite a bit. There's one of them. There's another big gold one in there. It's back there hiding because I'm out here running around. A couple of big koi angelfish. But everything drains back to the sump pump. The sump pump is back over here, so everything, when I'm draining the sump or when I'm just sweeping out tanks with those hoses, I can go and stick the hose in there and stick the other end of the hose in there. It comes into this drain here, back out into the drain to the street. Battery backup for the sump pump, just in case power goes out. There's auxiliary heat in this room, just in case the electricity goes out. We are in the Midwest, so in the wintertime, if the heat goes out, that would make this room probably pretty cold pretty quick. But that's the sump area. Again, all the heat and all the pumps and the valves and everything are controlled electronically. So this is probably it. This is probably the last update I'll do. It's full. I can't fit any other tanks in here unless I take out a wall. This is probably going to be it. But have any questions, post them and I'll try to answer them. Thanks a lot.